Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Dave TV. How y'all doing, everybody? Just wandering around the old pad here. Da, 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 da. It's the 29th of August, 2014, turning into a really nice summer. Another nice cool day, although there's probably going to be a little warm up coming. This is the DCR TV office. I don't actually work in here that much. I have my computer out in the main room there, as you can see. I'm giving you a little tour of the facilities here. But the office here has the archive. This little shelf over here is where I keep a lot of the DCR TV archive material. There's some old T-shirts down there. There's a lot of CDs with stuff on them, with old radio shows, and I've got binders and piles of clips and stuff, and all this stuff here, and more stuff down there, and a lot of memorabilia here. And then there's more stuff over here, and more stuff over there. So anyhow, then this is my editing suite over here. What I'm currently doing is taking a lot of videotapes. A friend of mine found this really cool Hitachi VHS machine. Found it actually works really well. We go over to Goodwill a lot because you can't buy these in the stores anymore. Or, you can't go into a Best Buy and buy a videotape machine anymore. So we go into the stores and found this one at Goodwill over in Herndon for like $5 or $6. A lot of times you get these videotape machines home and they don't work, or they're really crappy, or they're burned to shit. Anyhow, this one works really well. This is a nice one. It's hardly been used. So I've got a bunch of tapes here, including stuff like Howard Stern's Open Sores. U.S. Open Sores. A friend of mine has these in his pit in the basement of his house. Tons and tons of moldy tapes. So I'm going through a lot of these old moldy tapes and at least digitizing them, putting them as digital files for my own personal use. Mind you, I'm not marketing them or anything. I'm just copying them over for personal use to save them from the moldy tape. Now, the funny thing I found about Howard Stern is a lot of his old shows, I think including this one, are all up on YouTube, so you can watch them for free anyhow. But it's nice to have an archived copy of it that I can watch even when the internet goes down. But I've gotten old. One of my friends sent me tons of these old tapes of Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 5, Channel 4 from the 80s, the 90s, old Gordon Petersons and Glenn Brenner stuff, and I've been digitizing a lot of that. So, the archive, whatever. So someday I'll give that all to some local university. The DCR-TV wing of the University of Maryland's broadcasting broadcasting history museum. Whatever. Maybe I'll give it to the what am I? I'm DCR-TV, NCR-TV, the National Capital Radio and Television Museum over there in Bowie. There'll be the DCR-TV wing of that. If I was a millionaire, I would do that. I would give them a big donation. Say, put my name on it. Call it the Dave Hughes National Capital Radio and Television Museum. Okay, so big news today in the Washington Post. Let's see, Russia's invading the Ukraine. That's not a good thing. Most of the people in the United States say, no, that's not a good thing. The Europeans don't like that. But yet continually, you can listen to Radio Russia on WTOP's HD2, nice and clear, okay? What I'm saying is, should an adversary nation like Russia, which is doing nasty things in Ukraine, be paying money to a Washington broadcaster like Hubbard and being distributed? I don't know. If I was Hubbard, I might just say, I guess they got a contract. I don't know. They probably have some sort of a contract. But, if I was them, I might just say, you know what? This isn't good PR. I don't know, man. Crazy things in broadcasting. So how y'all doing, everybody? We're only into the 4.5 minute mark on the show today. Wanted to make a quick comment here on this thing that's been running around. George Washington University professor John Banzhaf apparently wants to do something, petition the FCC to take Dan Snyder's radio licenses away from him because he thinks, as many do, that the Redskins name is racist. Okay, so he wants to get the FCC he's trying to petition the FCC that would officially list the word redskin as being a derogatory, racist, and hateful word. And then anybody that uses that word, even using it, even if it's not just Dan Snyder stations, but anybody that uses the word on the air would get their license taken away or something like that, or a fine. And he wants to go after Dan Snyder's radio licenses. You know what? Honestly, while I will say this, I do not, I've been a Redskins fan since 1972. My parents moved me to the Washington area back in 1972. I love the Redskins ever since, so it's been 42 years. I've been a Redskins fan. Good and bad, the George Allen days, the whole thing. Joe Gibbs days, the whole shebang. And I don't find the term Redskins offensive. Personally, I don't. You know, it's basically it's taking attributes of Native Americans and praising them. You're naming yourself after, people name themselves. Teams are named after things they admire. Okay, something about an eagle. It's bold and quick and nimble, or a raven, it's mysterious and strong, and or whatever. You name yourself after something you admire. And okay, maybe Redskins, yeah, the term red is derogatory in terms of calling someone a black skin or a yellow skin or whatever, but still you're admiring the the Native Americans there. It's a fact of it. It's an admiration. Now I can understand a lot of people don't like the name. So, okay, but I still don't think the FCC should get in the business of doing content regulation where they start taking licenses and fining people for saying certain words on the radio, even if those words are offensive. And I do think that this Mr. Banzaf is a little bit on the wacky side. I think he's just doing it for publicity and that kind of thing. I don't think anything he's going to do is going to stand up in court. I don't think the FCC is going to buy that. And I don't think Dan Snyder has anything to worry about having his radio licenses stripped. However, he'd probably like to get rid of his radio stations anyway, from what I hear. And I wouldn't be surprised if all this talk promotes some sort of a deal between Snyder and probably Cumulus. Cumulus is the company that I've been hearing is the most interested in Dan Snyder's radio licenses, particularly in the Washington area, because Cumulus owns WMAL and they own WRQX. Okay, they have three signals, 107.3, and then for WRQX, and then 105.9 and 630 for WMAL. They're probably going to be selling off the WMAL transmitter site there, 630 transmitter site in North Bethesda one of these days. So it's basically down to two stations. But, they would probably like 980. 980 is a good signal, and then there's a couple FMers with that, rimshot FMers, and 570. So it would give Cumulus a mix of stations, and maybe they could keep running 980 as a sports talker, and they could have the Redskins in their clutches as a broadcast partner or something. Wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened. And then to take the team away from Dan Snyder, take his radio stations away. And he doesn't need them. He's lost money. He makes money. MTEM makes money. It does. It's one of the top producers in the market in terms of revenue, just simply because it is the Redskins. But the stations are not worth much. Two rimshot FMers and an AMer. So anyhow, who knows? But I do think Mr. Banzaf's it's press. It's a lawyer strutting his stuff. That's all it is, and I don't think it's going to mean anything whatsoever. Ay 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 ay. Tony Kornheiser. So let's get into the sports motif. Tony Kornheiser, I'm hearing, is going to be back on WTEM, ESPN 980 as of Tuesday the 2nd. He always does that. I think he has contract renewal stuff, and he makes it like he's not coming back, and then he always comes back. I mean, they do very well. Even though the midday ratings aren't that great, they don't mean anything, but he still does very well. So there we go. There we go. And it was nice to see the Washington Post. I threw the paper away from yesterday, but it was nice to see the Washington Post put Arch Campbell on the front page. We broke the news last Friday that Arch was leaving News Channel 8 and Channel 7, and temporarily is what he says, but posted a little tiny blurb in their Monday paper crediting DCRTV anyway, and then they finally did a big front page article in Thursday's paper about Arch. Now, I don't know. I like Arch. I've always liked Arch, and they're playing this up, and he's playing this up as I'm just taking a temporary leave of absence, and the welcome mat is still there at News Channel 8 from the new owner, Sinclair, to come back. To be honest, I think that's just a saving face kind of thing. I really think that. I think they probably said to Arch, it's not going to work. You're pushing 70. You can see the writing on the wall. This is it for, this is Art saying goodbye to Channel 7 News, Channel 8. It's on his own terms, and they're doing a nice thing. They're letting him do it. They're not saying you're out the door good, like Jack Diamond, where they basically do your last show and then they kick your butt out the door. They're not doing that. They're being very nice to it, and they're playing it. And maybe Arch will come back and do some guest shots or whatever, but, I think this is they're not going to say Arch come back. I just don't. Sinclair's going to want to hire some bubble-headed bleach blonde or that dippy guy on Channel 5 there from WJFK to do something. It's young. They want young people. They want people in their 20s that work for $1, that work for $5 an hour or something like that. That's what they want. Anyhow, I don't know. Yesterday I'm in the Safeway and somebody comes up to me, Dave, you're the guy that does that show on the internet. I'm going, hey. I don't know why I get recognized. I just think like I fit right into the crowd. I don't know. I love Joan Rivers. I've always loved Joan Rivers. I've always thought she was a funny lady. Been a big fan. I did not like her comment. I did not like her comment 2 weeks ago where she said that civilians in Gaza deserved to get bombed. That I don't like that comment. I thought that was a nasty comment. Individual civilians don't always have a choice of what kind of government that represents them. And then when governments do stupid things and militaries do stupid things and people get bombed and children get bombed and whatever, it happens in all wars. I realize that. But you don't say anybody deserves that. Civilians don't deserve that. The German civilians in Nazi Germany didn't deserve getting bombed, even though getting bombed they had to get bombed because we had to stop Hitler. Hitler was evil. We had to do that. But you don't say they deserve it. They're casualties of war, and that's the way war is. But to say something stupid like that, and I posted some stuff on Facebook yesterday because here's Joan now getting rushed to the hospital. And I guess she's going to be okay. And I like Joan. I do like Joan. But that was a stupid comment, Joan. And I wish, I think she kind of retracted it, but dumb. You don't say that. You don't, I don't think even the Israeli military are going to say, those little children in Gaza deserve to get bombed. I mean, come on. And it happens because you have to do it. You have to stop the bad guys. But there's lots of casualties, innocent people, lots of innocent people die in wars, and they don't deserve what happens to them. So what do you say? Joan. You're getting that skin pulled too tight. It's somehow cutting off the blood flow to your brain. I hope she recovers. I do hope she recovers. I like Joan. Always thought she's a funny lady. One of the one of the top female comics ever. Whatever happened to Elaine Boozler, by the way? But I've always liked Joan. I thought she was really funny, but I think she's starting to get a little bit. How about turning the brain on a little bit before you run the mouth? That might help. A lesson we can all take. And what's up with Brian Wilson and his laryngitis? I think Brian Wilson's an idiot. I do. And maybe I don't know. I could do that, Laryngitis takes Brian Wilson. He's on the radio today, and he's got a raspy voice and all that. But maybe that's what'll, how will we live without Brian Wilson doing his on-air pitches for whatever? I get tired of all these guys on the radio. It's this guy on Jack Taylor on WTOP. All he does is make pitches for things, and Chris Core and the dudes on WMAL. All they do, Chris Plant. Larry O'Connor and Brian Wilson, all they do is sell things, pitch things, and I guess advertisers like that personal pitch thing. I've never much cared for it, but I think it kind of cheapens people. I think it makes them look kind of cheap if all they're doing is pitching crap, especially if you're doing a political show. I don't know. Oy vey. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Oh, Craig Coleman gets a new job. It's going to be the lead marketing executive for on-air sales at WILC, a little talker there in Laurel, Maryland. Somebody told me that they're trying to get Anthony Cumia to do a show for them. I don't know. Is anyone going to listen to 900 AM? I don't know. It's just, if they were on FM, they might have a chance, but being on AM, man, nobody, AM is, AM, I pronounced it last year, AM is officially dead in the Washington market. It's a dead band. Nobody listens to it. So just turn your transmitters off and go away. If WILC could get on FM, they might have a little chance, but 900 AM, no one's going to listen to them. Oh, I'm going to show you the camo pants today. What am I wearing today? Got my favorites on. These are actually a size 28 waist. That's right. These are a 28 waist. So, don't call me fat. I may be stocky, but I ain't fat. Thank you very much for watching Dave TV for the 28th or 29th, excuse me, of April 2014. You all have a great and happy and prosperous new Labor Day weekend. Don't get stuck in traffic. And as Jack Lord, or Bill Lord, Jack Lord's brother, said, book 'em, Dano.